All right, guys. Yeah, we're about to queue up. Are we going to air this one first? Will this be our first episode?
I do believe so. I mean, I think we're just going to air them in the order that we filmed them.
Well, this was the first one we actually tried to sit down and officially record.
Yeah.
So it might be the first one we officially release and have a conversation with you guys about Mobius.
Jean Girard,
French illustrator.
Yeah, we had a good conversation about him. I learned some things. You know, we got to look at some of his artwork.
I hope my facts are right.
Well, yeah.
But,
yeah. We learned about Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was involved in that project and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, 1974, the first purchasing rights for the film of Doom.
Yeah, we also talk a little bit
Don't
about...
ruin it.
Just a one-liner. Just keep you on your toes.
Yeah, we also talk about the upcoming art show that Crucible Art Gallery has.
Yes, crucibleartgallery.com.
Yeah.
That'll be on February 14th with Stephen Russell Black.
Yeah.
Great.
I think we show some of his work at the end of this episode, too. So that's cool.
Well, stay tuned and hang out for our first episode.
Here it is.
Enjoy.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I confused, don't want to be confused.
Well, these aren't exactly the largest cups ever.
I just felt like calling
It's going to feel like we're alcoholics.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, fellas.
To
Cheers.
our first sit.
Let's see how bad this goes.
To make official content. So what do you think? Are we going to lean into Art Damaged? Hold on to that?
Well, I think that's a good name.
Okay.
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll work.
It sounds fun. I think it
The only
kind of
thing I've
is.
seen of Art Damaged was some schmuck having a comedy show named Art Damaged.
Yeah. I saw old headlines that were like, which is stuff we'll get into with Bam.
Yeah.
He's got some good ideas for content, like old timey, like, oh, Art Damaged at the Met. Precious painting on its way from the Louvre.
Stolen.
That's great. So why don't we introduce ourselves? Why don't you start?
Hi, everyone. My name is Reggie Cuvelier. You can find me on social media as Reggie Inks on Instagram, Facebook, and hopefully I'll have a .com up and running here soon. Tattoo artist for the last handful of years. Went to college for graphic design and painting between BCC and BU. Working toward being a comic book artist before I kind of led down the road of like tattooing and stuff. My quick overview is basically my comic book geeking portfolio is what helped me score a apprenticeship and start getting around with all that shit. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Other things before that, yeah.
Cool.
Bam.
All right, so my name is Bam Maslar. I own Crucible Gallery with my wife, Christina Maslar. She's a tattoo artist here, also at Renaissance Studios. We've been operating that probably about a little over a year now. Yep, since October 2018. Painter myself as well, most of my life. Shown all over the world in different galleries.
Wow, you're cool. I am Josh Ruff. I am the owner of Renaissance Studios here, where we film this, whatever this is. Tattooer for the last 13 years, I think. Been painting for about as long.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, so thanks for joining us. This will hopefully be our weird little fucking podcast here that will talk about anything art related.
What's your goal for this podcast, Reggie?
Goal for the podcast. I say this is anything goes. Let's just have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, we usually just sit around and bullshit like this about art anyway. So
yeah.
We might as well just film it and see if other people want to watch this bullshit. So.
Yeah, our fucking weird perspectives. And
I just want to learn as much weird shit as possible about some of these guys.
yeah, right on. It's
I'm sure there's some weird shit.
That's one thing that'll be interesting is that we all sort of have similar interests but mixed backgrounds. You know what I mean? Fucking, you'll bring the more gallery and fine art perspective. Me and Josh will lend the weird tattoo and mine from the comic and illustration fucking inspirations and yeah, the fantasy art and shit that you'll bring to the table, and it'll all be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And talk about artists and movements and pieces themselves or weird stories that surround art pieces materials themselves. You know, maybe we'll do a fucking breakdown on who invented what materials, why and when. You know,
Who knows where all this is going to
who
go?
fucking do you?
We
know?
could be naked by
Do
the end
you
of this.
know?
Please keep your
I don't
pants
want to
on.
get drunk enough to get naked. not too nice in a row.
Speaking of getting drunk, we should mention our lovely sponsors at the North Brewery.
Tonight.
Our neighbors here in Endicott, New York, right next to Renaissance
Now, if you
Studios.
hold that up to the camera, you'll see that this wonderful evening has been sponsored by the North Brewery. Note the fine illustration located on its cover, and illustrated here by Josh Ruff himself
That
for
is
last
a
year's
Stay
release.
Puft Marshmallow Man.
Marshmallow Clouds. Let's get weird.
I'm sure we'll have
Oh, wait.
Zach on here at some
Make
point.
Endicott great. No, it's not Make Endicott great again. What was it? Changing the way you Endicott.
Reinventing the way you Endicott.
Reinventing the way you Endicott.
Let's get weird.
Yeah. All right, so who's this guy we're talking about today, Reggie?
I randomly had the idea of talking about Mobius because he's somebody that has always been brought up, but I never really researched a whole bunch. And looking into him a little bit more, seeing like how much it might come into play. He's a French guy. I think he was born in the 30s. Late 30s. It was 30s and 40s because I'm pretty sure he started his pro career like in his early 20s. He was getting published work, honestly, as like a teenager and stuff. His work was a huge separation. Ended up being like a really interesting separation. There was some cool stuff that sort of surrounded his life and whatnot. But is doing a lot of Western comics at first, if you want to pull one of those up. His like earliest, probably most notable pro gigs were kind of standard for the time, you know what I mean? That was a generation of spaghetti westerns and all that stuff, so a lot of that was going on. But he was pretty well informed for that. Even though he was French, he spent a year just living out in Mexico, studying art, so he had a good representation, spent a shitload of time just hanging out in the desert and drawing.
So
and
about what year is this? He's doing all this spaghetti Western stuff.
That's probably about the mid-'60s.
Okay.
Because he was getting published stuff in the mid-'50s, doing more funnies and comics, cartoony stuff.
Where was he being published?
These were all in Europe. These were all European comics and stuff like that.
Comics or newspapers?
Yeah,
or-
predominantly just book illustrations and stuff like that. I think those were in larger syndications where it was a bigger magazine, and I think a couple of people were helping about. But that Blueberry was one of the ones where that's sort of after this period. Yeah. Yeah, after this time period, through the Western comics, he got in pretty good with a couple of writers, one of which, this is where things start to get a little bit fun. He met this writer that got picked up to do this potential Dune project. Like some European film company got the rights to do Dune, and they were trying to hit a fucking...
That nerdy sci-fi movie from...
not Doom, but we're talking like 1974. So this is the sandworms and the spice trade and the
They are remaking that movie
stuff.
currently.
But they were trying to really like knock it out of the park with the type of talent they were getting involved. They got Orson Welles signed on. They got Pink Floyd to publish a soundtrack specifically for it. They were getting like Salvador Dali to do like concept and like I'm not sure where they were going to totally get him in there, but they were reaching for it, you know. But another
sounds
couple of
pretty
guys,
intense.
yeah, it would have been great.
All that shit together.
Another couple of guys though that I met was Dan O'Bannon and H.R. Geiger.
Nice.
So
Giger.
Gear, yeah. So this is where Dan O'Bannon, if you don't know, was the writer for the first Alien script.
Nice.
But while they were working on this movie, that I say that this is where things got fun because they started writing scripts together that ended up being, if you click over a couple, the first Metal Hurlante. Just one more.
That's dope.
That is the cover for the very first Heavy Metal. That's what ended up being imported to us as the heavy metal fucking magazines.
So is that what that means? Metal Hurlant?
Yeah,
whatever?
the English translation was heavy metal, but it was these guys that fucking started it. He had the first cover. He was trying to do some really interesting and more abstract stuff, like silent comics, like do a few pages of sci-fi stuff without any dialogue.
It's a really awesome illustration.
Yeah. So with all the stuff that he was doing at that point, and it got real fucking weird.
I mean, that's pretty weird right there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Go over
is
another
that like
man.
a
It
fucking
gets
monkey
great.
head? Like,
How many
What is
legs
that?
does he have?
let's see if I can zoom in on this.
Yeah, it's like a reptilian body with like a baboon fucking head.
Yeah, it's some straight up alien shit right there. It's
Yeah,
cool.
this is where he sort of started to pen the name Mobius though, because he was doing so much more conventional illustration beforehand. So his with the weirder his work got, the more he just would shift his name, his actual pen name.
That belly I totally thought was a third knee.
Yeah.
Cool creature design though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking awesome. So
Let's click over one more. This is some of his interiors. All right, let's look at this. This is actually one of the panels. This is one of the stories. I'm pretty sure this was called. Oh yeah, it'll actually shows the first. But I mean, let's hang out on this one for a second. Look at his fucking palette on that, dude. Fucking
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The super cool buildings in the background with like little hints of cool in the front, and how
it's got really good
warm.
light sources going on too. Like,
Yeah,
there's
like
that
the
lighting from
multiple-
below on the dude's face. That's pretty good.
that's coming up from like the shadows over it in
Yeah.
there.
Very extreme lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pen
it's
and ink
great.
with like
all the little
watercolors and all
details
that
here.
stuff.
This really reminds me of like maybe like a precursor to Blade Runner.
Oh, for sure. That's what I was. Yeah. So Dan O'Bannon, like I was saying, also got picked up for Alien. So when he brought Giger along, and also brought on fucking Mobius, he was doing more of like the aircraft and the fucking actual storyboards. And yeah, a lot from there on, a lot of like Hollywood was saying that they were drawing like a lot of inspiration from the way it was Ridley Scott, especially for the way he illustrated cities. And yeah, click over one more. I think the next one is like how it's like a sci-fi universe, but it's a little dirty and rough around the edges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the back alley of it's not some clean cut, crispy little Star Wars universe. It's like dirty and really fucking, I mean, like an old discarded robot, like. And look at the composition on the face, how like balanced and pseudo Art Nouveau that is, how it's got the curl
for sure. There's a lot
border,
of
like
Art Nouveau elements in this right here. Like all this ornamentation here and underneath the face.
yeah.
So what year would this have been
And
about?
this is all mid to late 70s.
Okay.
Because like I think Alien popped off in 78 into 80. So then after that, he's got more Hollywood work after that. He ended up coming over to the States for a few years, and he was still doing a lot of this heavy metal type work on the side in between all of that. He ended up being like one of the lead artists for Tron, like the really OG one. Like I think he did a lot of the set design and background concepts, as well as all the character and outfit design, like the way he does, you know what I mean? Because they're all running around in weird costumes. He was doing all that stuff.
We should probably do like a deep dive on heavy metal at some point too.
Like the
'cause
whole
that's
magazine and
just a huge
stuff.
publication for stuff like this.
That'd be awesome.
That's why I wanted to sort of bring him up like one of the first, because of how much
influence.
that overall magazine did in providing an outlet for any sort of offbeat creator, illustrator, or writers. Like they said they didn't even have to try to develop a submission policy, because as soon as people got that magazine, they started sending them artwork like, yo, I got story ideas. So they didn't really have to try to pool talent. Like as soon as people just saw it and they just wanted to be a part of it. And it's still going now. It's still going pretty fucking strong from like 1974 to 2019. It's quite a legacy.
It's still very popular right now.
And you know what I mean? All the science fiction film that lifted their stuff. You know what I mean? And John Carpenter did it a lot too. His science fiction always had that back alley dirt feel, like Escape from New York and all that stuff. I think the last Hollywood credit he had was like Fifth Element. And if you click over one more, there should be. Oh, there's some of his alien work. Yeah, he was.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Like
so this is like the derelict spacecraft.
Yeah. So they brought him in to like actually, you know what I mean? Not just design the elements, but the story beats and stuff like that. Like the whole surprise, like, holy shit, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Again, just like pen and ink, man.
So are these just storyboards that he would have been presenting to?
Yeah, they hired him. I don't know if they did bringing in an artist at that time might have been like a beat artist where like the really important scenes that you were building special effects for, you had down that you wanted to do. You might not necessarily hire that person to illustrate all the dialogue storyboards, but like, yeah, like that act 1 and reveal and the act 2 monster pops out and you know what I mean? Things like that. Just like what the main direction of the overall acts would be.
Because the really early storyboards that I would always see were just very simple,
Yeah,
scratched out
yeah.
designs.
That's what I mean. He's probably was hired to like, this is the first shock scene in like act 1. So they're like building up the special effects for this moment, you know?
So was he one of like the very first artists that made that transition of actually rendering full artist concepts and stuff for?
You know,
This is definitely early concept art. I would say, for movies and stuff.
Because just Hollywood being more serious about that stuff and special effects getting a little bit better. They planning that out a little bit more. But I think that was the concept that Disney always had on hand. You know, how Disney has those really cinematic moments in every act. I think they have like, they hire a beat artist first to sort of illustrate those scenes after they read the script, and then they'll start planning things down from there, you know, sort of like reverse engineering the thing. Marvel does that a lot. You can fucking tell, like when every superhero's on the same panel, like, you know, that somebody spent a lot of time trying to draw that. And
they mocked it up first to get an idea of how
before they even
shoot
started anything, they had an illustrator sort of plan out that sequence. But so, yeah, case in point with like some of that stuff with now. And some of his last film work was actually The Fifth Element. If we go over, oh, maybe I didn't save that one, but yeah, I just wanted to click on and show some of his more psychedelic, weird science fiction.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
pretty interesting right there.
Yeah, notice
I
how
get like a big George Washington feel.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's obviously referencing some of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just check out that dude's hat.
Yeah,
It's cool though. I like it. I like his cool color palettes.
Yeah, he's got very extreme color palettes.
yeah, just hints of like the compliments, you know.
I think a lot of that also has to do with just trying to capture a mood.
Yeah,
Because all this stuff is probably just, not like meant to be like a super polished, finished work of art for every frame. It's more like a concept for like other, like,
even if he's doing stuff for publication on a book, he still has deadlines to hit. So he's not over rendering in color, just nice washes and
just toning like large areas,
mm-hmm.
like how that purple, there's just like a big purple gradient, and most of that is just roughed in over this inking. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the inking, I can't believe like how consistent his line weight is though. Usually, like I pulled up that really early comic one where he was like fighting the falcon or the eagle, and like his line weight was really crazy and expressive, but here it seems just so meticulous and like mechanical. So even for like a dip pen, you know what I mean, like an old-timey crow quill to have just that smooth and consistent line weight. And
Would these have been watercolors, or?
I think that I'm almost positive on that. Or like
probably like pen, just to lay everything like the blacks in there first, and
Mm-hmm.
then watercolor over all that.
Just very smooth.
Yeah.
Or
Very smooth
the old version
gradients.
of just those the liquid acrylics. They behave like watercolor, but just dry, a little bit more vibrant,
More
transparent,
transparent,
stuff like that.
Transparent colors.
Or like the Phil Martin dyes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Are those like the best watercolors you can use for the most part?
Dr. Martens. You talking about?
He worked on The Abyss also. Was that also a Ridley Scott?
I'm not sure.
Was that one movie where Ridley Scott did get to pull him in on?
You might be correct. I forget who directed that one. I'm pretty sure you're right though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just
Big wave of sci-fi movies back in that time period in the 80s.
Yeah, and actually, with all that stuff, he did the only real mainstream comic stuff he did was just like 2 issues of Silver Surfer for Marvel. That like because Stan Lee had saw a lot of his Western stuff, because you know what I mean, like a lot of those guys like that slice of life.
I think some of
comics
that
and
was
stuff.
on his Wikipedia page here.
Yeah, he only did like 2 issues with him, but it was pretty interesting that like that's all he did, because
This
he
is the
had
guy.
hope. Yep, that's him.
Jean
in
Giraud.
2008.
Jean Giraud.
Obviously a bit older at this point.
Yeah, it passed away in
2012.
2012. But left out a pretty interesting legacy of sort of defining the look of modern science fiction.
The horny goof.
Yeah, all he did with Marvel was just a 2 Silver Surfer book
Yeah.
that he had a co-writer credit on. Stanley was super fascinated with his work and wanted to pull him in on something.
Yeah, I saw that earlier when I was checking out his page here.
Oh, he also had a Japanese company.
There it is. Yeah, it's Galactus and the Silver Surfer there.
Yep, 2 issues of that.
Yeah,
Which makes sense because of how sci-fi it is, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And he really wasn't super notable in the States until, like, you know what I mean? The movies and this stuff.
It's awesome how even though he was still doing it for this now, it's still the same color palette.
Yeah,
It's still the same extreme
Well, I
bright
think,
colors.
you know, he
Some of the
developed a style, and that's just what it is now, you know?
right, and that's what I'm saying, being able to carry it over for commercial work as well. and
Right.
Being allowed to do his own thing like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it says Parable by Stanley and Mobius. He wrote some of this too?
Yeah, they give him, Stanley gave him pretty loose guidelines of what he wanted in the story, so they kind of collaborated and wanted to know what it was going to be.
That's awesome.
Because that's how Stanley sort of worked with, like, some of his more keen guys. He gave them pretty loose guidelines and then would sort of write around what they would draw,
Cool.
as opposed to being a strict, like, here's your script, see you Tuesday, you know?
Right. Draw
So-
this shit for me.
He
Like
also...
a tattooer.
Yeah, and one more thing is that I thought was interesting is there was a Japanese animation company that brought him in to be like a art direction / writer for an adaptation of Little Nemo's Slumberland. Like, I mean, the animation was done mostly on their behalf, but to see and just know that they wanted his input as being like a European artist in their translation of a really early European stories and stuff like that. So,
Dope.
yeah. So that's Mobius.
North Brewery, reinventing the way you endicott since 2012.
That's a nice catchphrase.
That's a good one, right?
But
Yeah, it's a great one.
let's just talk for a second. Just
Okay.
tell me what's going on over there. Like, what do you have on tap now? What kind
Right
of,
now?
Yeah, you've been
Or is
doing
this like
a lot of, the EVF stuff? Tell us
Yeah,
about
so-
Frosty Fridays or something like that.
Yeah.
So-
What's the next convention you're working?
We're going to Extreme Beer Fest 2020, Boston this year. It's awesome. It's a huge event. This is our 5th year going. It's our invite. It's invite only, put on by our peers. It's huge. 5 years in a row. It's just like unheard of. Very few breweries get the honor of doing this. So this year at EBF, we're bringing 4 different extreme beers. Now, one of them is super thick Cerberus. So it's like a take on our regular Cerberus that we brew. But
oatmeal stout, correct?
yeah, it's chocolate oatmeal milk stout that this time through we aged it on vanilla cake and some almonds
Right
to make
on.
it a little bit
Cool.
more extreme.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the next beer we're bringing to Extreme Beer Fest, we've had in our brewery before. It's called Mint Berry Crunch. Yeah, it's we're
Convention
taking a
stouts.
gamble on this. It's a stout, another stout. This is
And a South Park reference.
yeah,
Yes.
We like to have fun.
Shubaloo. So we have that one. It's just a session stout, 4% that has mint and strawberry, blueberry, and raspberry in it.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. The third beer we're bringing, it's another stout. It's God Complex. It's what put us on the map.
My personal favorite. I will say that.
Thank you. It's a Serrano pepper mocha hazelnut coffee stout. Spicy.
Mm-hmm. They are, yeah. I have a palate for spice, but those actually do. It's like, wow, that's actually spicy. It's
And
a
then-
little zippy.
The most extreme beer that we're bringing this year is we're just doing a shout out to Wendy's. So we brewed a New England style IPA, and then we put French fries from Wendy's in the beer, and then we got milkshake. The Frosties, and we put them in the mash as well. So,
Did you just roll up to the drive-through?
well, the first time we did it, they thought it was a prank.
They probably fucking hated you.
Yeah, because we
You're like, no, we're serious.
I need
all this shit.
$50 worth of French fries. Or what actually did you like?
So the first time we did it, we called them up and I was like, I need $200 worth of French fries. And then somebody that wasn't the shift manager there took the call. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. We called at 10 o'clock. And then within 5 minutes, they called us back and the manager there thought it was a prank. So they were like, we're not doing this. And I was like, no, I'm serious. I'll go down and pay for it right now. So we went down there and definitely all the employees were like, they weren't pissed. It was shocking that it was so nonchalant about it. They're like, oh yeah, this asshole is putting French fries in a beer.
You realize how insane that sounds to casual beer drinkers.
Yeah.
Or to the casual
So
morning fast food shift. Like, hey, order number 1 up today was about $200 of French fries.
Yeah, guys,
and
we're
3
out of fries.
Frosties.
We got no fries for the rest of the day.
what you what you learn is like you learn about the different sizes and the poundage of like what you're getting. So we have to like I had to figure out do the calculation of how many pounds of French fries I actually needed to go into the beer because I was thinking I wanted to do a ratio of like. Man, I don't want to like. I think it was I wanted to do a pound per gallon or something like that. But then you learn that the large fry is $1. No, it's $2.56 for a large fry, and then that is like £1.50 of French fries. That's insane.
That's a pound and a half.
Yeah, something
That's
like
a lot
that.
of fries.
Wow, with fat ass.
Yeah.
It's a
Wendy's,
lot of fries.
dude. Wendy's biggie fries. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those things don't like.
So
You know.
you.
This just proves him a fat ass.
So and then I thought the craziest thing though was your people there just were like.
Yeah.
I thought people were gonna ask
I
me.
guess.
Yeah, like when we go to Wegmans or something or just Price Chopper to get things, everyone's so in shock. They're like, "What are you doing with all those oranges? That's a lot of oranges. Are you sick?" And I'm like, "No."
Low on vitamin C.
Yeah, I was like, "No, we're just putting it in a beer." And you go to Wendy's and nobody bats an eye that we're getting $200 worth of French fries at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
They
They're
probably just don't want to know what's going on.
Like, I have no idea what's going on.
Or it's just
I just get
normal.
paid.
it's just normal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a tub and I'm gonna have somebody pour these French fries all over my body, and then we're gonna take photos of them.
We should do a shower scene with just raining French fries.
Yeah. Remember when we did that over here? We came for one of our extreme, for one of our
Yeah, I
events that
remember.
we did. And
I found out like after the fact, and I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, we sprayed one of our guys with beer in your shower.
You should redo that with French fries.
Yeah, just throwing. I got salt in my
Hey,
eye.
as long as you clean that shit up, have at it.
Yeah. So what we did was this time we got all those French fries and then we got all of the Frosties and we put them in the beer. So and then we did a shout out. We tagged Beer Advocate and then they put us on their Instagram page because it's pretty crazy to put fucking French fries and Frosties.
That's a pretty awesome shout out, though, right?
Yeah.
Your
That's-
advocate.
It's huge.
What about
Cool.
Wendy's? Do they know?
No, we've been tagging them. I'm hoping that somebody picks it up because it'd be pretty sweet that if they would tag us. I mean,
They're probably like, why the fuck does this guy just keep tagging us in this crazy shit?
I thought they'd be something like the person that would do that. I think I got to do Arby's next. I got to like go to the lowest of the low of fast food chains.
You couldn't tell,
You
but
curly
they used
fries.
to be curly
Curly
fries.
So, like not to like make this a long story, but it's crazy because there's certain breweries that are getting in trouble for using the likeness of like cereal, like their likeness on their packaging, which is definitely a trademark issue. But what I did for this, and I'll give you guys the logo and you can use it if you want or not. But I tried to come up with like what would North Brewery look like if we were a fast food chain.
Nice.
And I made our own fast food logo to put on there. And then I'm not lying. Like no one can, Wendy's can't come after me or nobody can, like they can't come after me at all for just saying that we used their fries. So I have it on the can, like brewed with Wendy's fries and Frosties. So I'm not using their likeness. I'm just saying, hey, we used it as an ingredient. So that worked out really well for us.
Yeah, speaking of a lot of your design stuff, you do that predominantly yourself, right? We can jump into that a little bit since it's an art cast. So
Yes.
yeah,
No, I do a lot of the stuff myself. I do a lot of minimalist stuff because just what I like kind of geared towards.
so origins of your main logo here. If we can get anyone to see that.
Yeah, it's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
So and John Carpenter-esque. I've been a big fan of those types of horror genre, like that type of horror. John Carpenter's The Thing or Prince of Darkness, and then anything by Lovecraftian. I mean, I'm not a real fan of his writing, but I'm more of a real fan of the mythos that he created of Lovecraft.
Cool. Right on.
So that's what's going on.
That's what's going on next door.
What about events next door, though? Like, you got anything coming up?
We got a huge event February, I believe it's 22nd. It's our anniversary. 7 years down.
Awesome.
Wow. We got that one, and then May 1st, I believe, we have God Complex Day, which is huge. So we got a couple of things going up, big events, and then we have different can releases.
So are you doing God Complex and the Beer for Jay at the same time?
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
doing an event over Free Comic Book Day this year for Sound Go Round, another local business. in
That
Modesto
we'll
Parkway.
probably collaborate on the cover on and
Yeah, I'm
do
game
some
with that.
artwork for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to bring up to you, Ruff. If you want to do another anniversary beer label, we could work on that too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that's good. Talk about what we got going on. I'd love to be on the show.
You got
I love
any,
you
you
on
got
the
any
show.
artists or in particular or fun art history stories that you would chime in on that we could try to figure out when we get you down?
Yes.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Perfect.
Tune in next time.
No, a lot of the stuff that I found was interesting was just how many passive people that he crossed, like the whole Dune project and how many people he had a chance to like collaborate on that.
Right.
And it seemed like even though that movie wasn't made, it was just one of those odd moments in time where it was just like just all this creative energy in one place. And even though that project didn't see the light of day, that something was going to happen.
Do you know if he ended up actually working on the cinematic version of Dune?
I don't think he didn't have any credits for any of the later projects and stuff.
It's a bummer.
And like one of the writers, like I was saying, one of the writers from his Western Comics is what pulled him in on that project. He's making little ties and connects in the European film industry and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, how fucking weird would it have been to hear the Pink Floyd soundtrack for the science fiction film?
That movie
Dune.
just sounds like an acid trip.
I know, it's not like fantastic.
If Dolly's doing stuff for it too, and Pink Floyd, like, even just those two together, it's like, wow, you're tripping on a face full of LSD when you watch this movie.
I would have, get our hands on like, why don't you see if maybe that's on Google Images or something. Maybe it's like some of the unused art from, because they had the guys. The reason the movie didn't end up being made is because a lot of those guys, some of them had big names and stuff, but a weird science fiction project like that and Dune, like they lost their American distribution rights, so that was basically like $100,000 out of their fucking budget, and they're like, so you guys just spent 6 months drawing all the shit for us. And bye.
Is there like a name for that project where I could look it up?
Maybe just Google Images, unmade Dune. It's not 74, so maybe something like that. And to see what Geiger's illustrations for like the sandworms would have been, you know? Oh my god.
Jodorowsky's Dune, is it that one?
74 purchased rights. Yeah, background 1974, first purchase rights of the film. $2 million of the $9 million budget had already been spent on pre-production, even though the movie
David Lynch directed the
84 one?
And the script would result in a 14-hour-long film.
It was the size of a phone book.
Wow. That's crazy.
Do we have any photos from this? Like, would it show any of their storyboards and or concepts?
Well, they spent $2 million of the $9.5 million budget on pre-production.
so hopefully some of that artwork is around.
Yeah, that'd be great to see all that. Wow, that's a lot, dude. Like back then, $2 million of concept art, just for the film.
Well, they're probably getting people to sign on to projects. Like, here's a few $1,000s as an incentive.
Just a prepayment.
Yeah. A down payment on Pink Floyd because they agreed on the soundtrack.
Yeah, there's not a lot of images here on
that sucks.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Just the theatrical release poster here. But I think this actually might be a documentary about that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Not a whole lot on the interwebs for that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So
did we make it to that Jimi Hendrix one? Let's critique that one really quick. If I don't feel like we clicked away before we got to that one. Oh yeah, because we were looking at.
Let me figure this shit out here. Yeah. It's right there.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely smooth James Hendrix right there.
Yeah. But again, like that consistent line weight throughout. I feel like the only heavy line weight that he's using is probably around the underside of that cliff.
Right around the orange.
Yeah, well,
box there.
who's this guy right here? What's this all about?
A lot of his stories are like just exploration. They were pretty short. I'm not totally sure what this one is. I haven't read a shitload of his actual books and stuff. just looking at the artwork and appreciating it for what it is.
The upper left corner there, is that a tiny person there?
Maybe it looks like it, like off in the distance.
Just walking away.
Yeah. This dude right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool little detail.
Yeah.
Details of
The
those rocks
sense
are
is
insane.
Yeah, that's his old time drawing so much out in the desert and how his Western comics sort of informed his later work in science fiction.
Probably ate some peyote at some point.
Yeah, a couple of buttons.
Yeah.
Well, it paid off for him.
Yeah. Again, the rendering, how like the form.
Yeah.
It's all like single level hatching too.
I really like the contrast between the super cool background colors and all like the warm tones of the guy in the front here.
He forces you to look where he's got a good way of doing that.
It's like my eye's not even really drawn towards that awesome rendering of Jimi Hendrix in the background there. It's
so much as you want to look around in the warm.
Just that warm, cool contrast.
Find your way home.
The bottom left corner here. It's good composition.
Yeah. What do you think, Bam?
Like I said, the detail in those rocks is where it keeps drawing me in the most.
Yeah, and you in particular, you feel like don't have a lot of exposure to like some of this more movie-based and pop culture on the outskirts of pop culture kind of stuff. There's a lot more of a fine art background for you, right?
Yeah, I haven't really delved too much into this realm of the art. So
cool. Yeah, a couple of things. Yeah, maybe we could do more specific episodes where I could grab one of his graphic novels,
that'd be awesome.
Making it out. I tried to grab, I'm surprised it didn't go through, but I found one of his actual pages and I was looking at the way he was composing the viewer's eye. Because he had one of those. Do you remember the way they were buildings were illustrated in like The Fifth Element? How it was just layers and layers and layers of cities. So he started off the panel where it's just like, you see the horizon line and then you zoom in a little and then you see like almost that first illustration where it's like kids in the buildings and then it shifts a little bit and then you're looking toward the end of the page and it's like you have this focal point right in the middle where all of the buildings are sort of like downwardly converging and you just see that
right,
it's just
like the
layers and
the horizon
stories and stories. Well, like the linear perspective, all the buildings pointing at one point to show how big that the urban landscape actually is. So yeah,
that was a great film, Fifth Element.
Yeah, explore some old. Yeah, we do that. Explore some old heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, I definitely want to learn a lot.
Because I think
about that.
a lot of the guys that he was making friends with on the whole Dune project were involved in the first wave of illustrations in some way. So
yeah, and heavy metal is still super popular now.
Yeah.
So many good artists have been a part of that too.
Yeah.
Like I know Boris Vallejo's done stuff for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Frazetta definitely had to have done something at some point, I think.
I mean, even recently, a lot of modern day artists are doing a lot of
sure.
work for it and stuff like that. So
yeah, they still have their hand in the more outskirts of pop culture, like we were saying. Not like conventional or mainstream artists and or even comic book artists. It's still like on the fringes of like each of those scenes and cultures. It's pretty so good for them. Heavy metal, if you're listening to this, good on you for keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
definitely. They're usually at New York Comic Con, aren't they?
Yeah, they had a table there this year.
Okay.
And ended up buying a nice hat where when you flip it up, it's got the movie poster on the underside of the brim.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, nice fucking the stitched in logo. Now they're trying to get actually a lot of actual musicians a part of their scheduling and stuff. So you'll see a few band logos on the cover. And I don't know if they're trying to incorporate. My headphones keep going out. Give me a second to get that. Okay. I think I got a wiggly diggly.
Yeah, I know Dave Carrera just did a bunch of work with them.
Yeah, I like his work.
And I know David Stupakis did about
Pardon our
about a year
shitty
ago.
internet connection here. Trying to load all these cool images. Yep, still going.
Yep.
I'm going to go back in and check out the Wikipedia.
For heavy metal.
Yeah.
1977.
Yeah.
Yeah. 77. It's older
Yeah,
than
'cause
any of us.
That movie was supposed to be rolling around 74. They worked on it for what did they say? Like, well, they spent $2 million on it. So you probably spent a handful of artists at least 6 months' salary.
They said 2.5 years of pre-planning.
Really?
That's what it was saying, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure all the scripting and character descriptions before it got to the hands of the illustrators would have been a huge chunk of time too.
Metal Hurlant.
So does Kevin Eastman currently own it? I wanted to say that before.
Yeah.
Wait, Eastman sold the magazine to digital and music executive as of 14. Oh, so he owned it from Wow, he bought that with
92 to 14.
That's awesome. He bought that with his Kitty Ninja Turtle money.
That's dope.
Right in 1992, right in fucking
Imagine
wave.
how psyched he was to like
Just
buy this magazine with his Ninja Turtle funds.
Just roll in there with a duffel bag of cash.
I've been doing nothing but kitty shit for the last like 3 years. So let's get weird. Sick of talking to toy designers.
Yeah, all the illustrations for this magazine are so good. So, I think we're wrapped up with this guy, right?
Yeah. I think that
What
about
other
wraps up,
artists are you guys looking forward to talking about? Do you have a short list?
Yeah, I might do a Muka because that might be a nice lead in if Brian wants to sit in for an episode and do that Beardsley because they're like 10, 20 years apart from each other. And you were mentioning the other day, you feel like you don't know a lot about Muka. And Muka always drew a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I know his art when I see it, but I don't know much about
his personal history.
The guy, the artist.
Yeah, he was talking about he wants to do like an Aubrey Beardsley special, and then
I mean, we got into it a little bit with Square Nips, another artist here at Renaissance Studios.
Brian Mikolajczyk, whose online alias is
you can just call him Square Nips because his nipples
or Nips.
But yeah, we were talking about Beardsley and stuff, and seems like a cool guy to get in there on.
Yeah, I love the Art Nouveau movement that like right as the printing press was getting rolling, like what were people doing with illustration at that point?
Yeah, I personally
I love that shit.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that time.
Neither do I. I feel like art history sort of glosses over that because it was made for press. You know what I mean?
Too much.
And it's during that time period was also Impressionism because during the Industrial Revolution, like so when you think about that time period, you're mostly talking about people experimenting with new pigments because of industrial needs. They weren't talking about the guys that were doing new things because of publication.
Right.
It's more
like you mentioned with
new tools.
Like you mentioned with the art history, I feel like the art history in school at least mostly glazed over that sort of concept.
It's just all classical art and stuff like that, you know?
Well, not even just classical. I mean, I still learned a lot about Salvador Dali and stuff like that.
Right.
But just very traditional methods, not the whole commercialization of art and how people adapted it into other realms to make money.
Yeah.
Like it always goes back to that. To be an artist, you got to be that starving artist.
Yeah. Which shining light on how many different ways you can draw something for print would probably be better for any sort of beginner artist and or art student that started on the cusp of taking things seriously.
Yeah.
Like if you can get good at drawing, there's a lot of fucking things you can do.
Yeah. There's a lot of options.
Are we fucking out of beer already? Jesus.
More beer.
Yeah.
More beer.
I think there's a
one
fucking...
is more
No, there's one in the
beer.
All right, so...
Yeah, I think this about wraps up for...
That concludes my
we're
presentation.
over a half an hour.
That concludes my presentation on Mobius.
Okay.
We can revisit him at a later time because then there isn't two things that we could delve into. Like I also said that he did some silent stuff with no actual dialogue. So maybe we can click through the panels and pull that up and actually talk about it.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah. Because we wouldn't have to, people wouldn't have to pause and, read the panel. Thanks, everyone, tuning into our first, hopefully official episode of Art Damaged.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anybody have any social media outlets they want to plug at this point? I mean, I know we did it already, but
Yeah, so
what's going on with Crucible, Bam? Tell us about that.
So next month on Valentine's Day, February 14th, we have a solo show opening online with Stephen Russell Black.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's going to have some amazing new pieces.
Do you know his Instagram name? Because that's how everybody follows artists nowadays, just Instagram.
Stephen Russell Black?
Yeah.
Yep, Stephen Russell Black.
At Stephen Russell Black.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that dude does some great drawing.
Yeah, his work
and
is
painting.
his work is insane.
Yeah.
And his work ethic is out of this world.
Yeah, he always seems to have like something awesome going on. Why don't we just pull that up?
Yeah.
Right now he's doing like a challenge of 2 drawings
If
and
you can
a painting.
pull up like the Instagram, maybe we can just click over a couple things. Show Bam's studio page. Oh,
Here's
you already
Here's
did.
Bam's
This is my-
Instagram.
this is my
I have
personal
that ready
page.
to go.
Yep.
It's all Bam's work.
Bam and I shared an art show last year, organized by Derek Lindo. That was our first time show. Actually, no, our first time technically showcasing together would have been last year's anniversary show here. Yeah.
Here.
How many shows did you do last year? I feel like I did about 3. My solo at North, the group show that we had at Av DIY, which for listeners was the local punk rock venue that was going on for a little while. Kudos to Derek for trying to shift the punk scene and bring some visual art to it. And then, I think my last one for last year was probably the anniversary show here.
Tight.
It's 3 showings. It's pretty good.
Yeah, this year I didn't do too many personal shows. Mostly just worked with the gallery, trying to expand and grow that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now he's killing it. He's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, his work's great.
I love that. Can we click on that like face morph with the wolf? Either one of those.
And right now he's trying to challenge himself right now to do I believe it's two drawings and a painting every week all year round. And he's got a full
quite the workload.
He's got a full-time job too. So this dude wakes up at
I remember. Yeah, you.
So
had
he's
some
just
stuff.
like mainlining caffeine.
he's got to be. Yeah. He wakes up at like early morning, probably like 4 a.m. I would say. He's on Twitch.
See, I wish I could do that. I wish I could get up at 4 in the morning and be
have
ready
told
to
myself
go.
for like
I'm going to do 2 hours before
That's
I
exactly it.
get my
yeah,
day
I'm just
going
gonna wake right
here.
up and start drawing.
I do not have that discipline at all.
That's exactly it. He gets up mad early. He's on Twitch most mornings, doing live streaming for about 2 hours. Gets ready for work, heads right out.
Yeah, you had a couple of his originals delivered here, right?
Yep.
I was lucky enough to get my hands on one and actually look at it. Yeah, his work's incredible.
And if you scroll up just
His paintings are dope.
you scroll up just a little bit, there's I'm trying to see. I guess he didn't post it on here, but he was posting the other day like studio shots, and inside his studio, it is the most compact studio I've probably ever seen. It is, I think he said it was like 3 feet by 4 feet. His entire studio.
Oh,
This
wow.
is him right here, right?
Yep, center
Cool.
guy. Yep.
Oh, that was Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
It was Ben
Yeah,
holding the
this
torch.
dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
The old school one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a
The
lot of
best one.
inspiration from the old school like that.
Ooh,
I love this
wow.
shit, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah,
It's
and the,
like
and the textures that he
Lovecraftian
gets
stuff.
too.
Do you know? All right, I'm seeing him post a little bit of colored pencils in there. So is that what he likes for his blackest black?
Yeah.
And then straight up graphite in the middle, or is he making black do
it
all
looks
that?
like it's all graphite, honestly. It just
Yeah, it has
tone
a-
paper. Like there's no absolute black in there. Like
But he
it's,
keeps everyone
it's just
post
a really
that stuff.
dark lead.
Dark pencil
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, the pencil that he used, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to ask him, but it always looked like it was just
Yeah, is he just getting all that rendering with like only a black colored pencil? That's amazing. Yeah, it kind of looks like it now that you zoom in because it's just varied stroke. It's probably light pressure and just making it a nice
It's
gray.
very, very illustrative. It's awesome.
And then probably a white chalk. That's what that pencil looks like.
yeah, and he just had a new book come out. So he just had his fourth book come out.
Nice.
4th solo publication.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, didn't you guys have a sticker with this one on it? The
Yeah.
chick skull face thing?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I've seen
Yep,
that
yep,
before.
yep.
They're all awesome, though.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the work that he's doing for this. That'll be opening on February 14th online at crucibleartgallery.com.
Why don't we just bring up your Instagram here?
Yeah, so that'll be crucibleartgallery.com.
Check it out, everyone. This is Bam's
Yep.
gallery.
Right now, we actually have open submissions going on.
Let's click
Right.
on Christina's piece there.
Yep.
Also make a note that this is Bam's wife, Christina.
So we have open submissions going on right now through the end of January. So you'll be able to email us at info@crucibleartgallery.com.
Submit some shit.
Yeah, it'd be great to see a lot of new artists. There's always new artists coming out every single day.
Cool. All right, so what about you, Reggie? Here's your Instagram.
Oh,
Let's take a
put-
gander at
put
this.
me on the spot.
After he put me on the spot.
You did pretty well at your First Friday thing at the North Brewery, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For those who don't know, the North Brewery has this thing they call anti-First Friday, which also happens to be on First Friday. At the brewery, they'll have an artist display work there for the month.
Yeah, I can talk about that a second. Unfortunately, maybe we can edit in some photos and post, but I just did a series of action figure still lifes for my solo show over at North Brewery, setting up fun little photo shoots with that delightfully weird 90s toys, a couple of Ninja Turtles in there and stuff. I rented it all out in pencil and charcoal with a little bit of white colored pencil. Probably this tool is very similar to the last guy we were looking at, but my technique is nowhere like that, so it's quite different.
He's got a
Learning
very
experience.
What's up?
Learning experience for you.
I use a little bit more of the black charcoal to get a blackest black in there and try to sort of exaggerate some of the shadow shapes and stuff like that. Because I feel like the transition to laying out large areas of black when it comes to pen and ink illustration and or tattooing is kind of a fun little thing that I like to do. Just think about, large areas of shadow shape.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll probably keep exploring that workload by maybe a little more photography, thinking about that, cinematic lighting.
And you have another show coming up with them, right? Coming up soon?
It's in the works. We're discussing it.
Okay.
I don't know. As my agent, did you lock down that time slot?
Yeah, you're doing May.
We're doing May?
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
So the first art show I have slated for this year is I'm going to be doing the first Friday in May, which those of you that don't know will be right before the free comic book day. So I will be doing a whole series of illustrations again.
Sangaran and Vestal, correct?
Yep. North Brewery, I will collaborate with them. We will design a beer label together. I will take the first Friday slot at the May art show where you can see a whole wave of the next wave of action figure illustrations that I'm going to do. And then I'll probably show at sell some prints at Soundground the next day. And then come in and tattoo later.
Who do you know who's doing April there?
I don't know his name offhand.
Okay.
Why is that?
Well, we'll find it out. I'm just curious. I'm supposed to do March.
Speaking of that, yep, you're doing the March show,
which means I should probably get to painting as soon as possible. But yes, this is my Instagram page. This is currently a piece I'm working on for that show, but this is a very brief clip of it. It's nowhere near done yet.
Yeah.
Very professional.
And
so you got the March
this piece here
slot
will
over there.
definitely be
Great.
part of that show.
Cool.
I think I have a couple other illustrations in this kind of style that I'll have there.
What are you thinking for group shows that we might host here this year?
Well, I'm open to suggestions at this point because
Okay.
we really don't have anything planned. But we could get whoever in here.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always just do a us show again.
Mhm.
It's basically what it ends up being most of the time.
Use the anniversary to recreate the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of that, you also have that coming up, right?
Yeah, we do. We
many
don't
people-
really have any plans for it though. But I mean, we could have another party, I guess.
Is that going to be in February, right? Or is it early Feb?
February 14th is the day that I registered the DBA for this business, and that will be 8 years ago.
Cool.
February.
It's been that
Cool.
long. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're still here.
Not going anywhere.
Yep.
So maybe if this gets released right around the time of that, maybe stop down and hopefully we'll have some more information on the anniversary party / art show that will be in the works over the next month.
Yes. I think that's it, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Call it a wrap.
Sounds good.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Bye.